Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I've decided to recreate the Simpsons house in The Sims 4. I'm a gigantic Simpsons fan. Ever since I was little, I've been loving it. Like, I'm so obsessed with the show. Whenever new episodes come out, I'm watching them. And yes, I know the quality has decreased. The first seasons were the best ones, as always, but I'm still in love with this show. And when I was little, I already watched it. I was so excited when it would be on TV, and I was lucky that my parents would allow it because I just love the show. And I think it's super amazing that the show kind of works for almost all age groups. When you are little, some of the jokes kind of go over your head and you don't really understand, and then when you are older you understand what they were really hinting at, if that makes sense. So it was still kind of okay to watch it when I was little, and now it's like completely different to watch it, but it's like so funny. It's like one of my comfort shows. I'm so obsessed with The Simpsons, and actually I've been wanting to do it for years. Like, this has been on my bucket list for the longest time. I always wanted to build The Simpsons house in The Sims 4, and you know that recreations can be tricky for me, and this build was no exception because I really had to figure out the whole floor plan, the proportions on the outside, and sometimes you have a big issue when you are recreating something from a movie or TV show. Sometimes what is shown on the interior doesn't line up with the exterior at all. Luckily for The Simpsons, it all makes sense most of the time, but it was still difficult, and I had to make a couple of changes until it was really working out. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the interior and the floor plan here. So most people are kind of aware of the main rooms, like the two living rooms, the kitchen, the dining room, the hallway, all the different bedrooms. And then there are some areas which are not as well known and kind of tricky. So there is what's called the rumpus room in The Simpsons house. It's briefly shown in season 1, and then I think it's shown a couple of times in later seasons. And it's like just like a hobby room, and there's a TV in there and all that. I'm going to place a stereo in there and also a desk and a computer, like a old-fashioned one. So it's kind of a mystery. It's not really mainly shown, and some people don't know about the room, but it is located right next to the kitchen. And when I started to work on this was kind of the big mystery, because I could build a part of the house just from memory, because we all know where like the hallway is, and when you go to the left you enter the living room with the fireplace, then to the right you have the dining room. Like, this all like makes sense, but I really had to figure out what to do in terms of the rumpus room. Also, there are stairs leading down from the garage, so this is where you can enter the basement, and there's also a small hallway between the kitchen and the garage. Like, this is how everything is connected, and this is also how the rumpus room is connected to the rest of the house. And in some floor plans you can see that there is a tiny bathroom between the kitchen and the rumpus room, so I have included that because it made sense, and you just have an additional bathroom. But I was looking at so many floor plans, pictures, screenshots from episodes, so I was really trying to figure out what's going on here. And here at this point, I have already applied the wallpaper. It's pink, it's super colorful. This is why it was also so much fun to work on this build, just like all the Barbie builds. It's very colorful and fun. And I had some issues when it came to the chimney from the outside, because there's like an angle, and usually, as you can see here, it just makes sense to apply a roof piece to this, but then it wouldn't let me change the wallpaper on the interior. I wish they could fix this, and I've then used some No Sissy gallery art, because when you enter the hallway in The Simpsons house, there are lots of family portraits above the stairs, so I totally wanted to include this. There's also this closet right behind the hallway. It's shown in so many episodes, and usually whenever they show the closet in the hallway, you will spot so many iconic objects, which were like a huge part of prior episodes. It's kind of like a gigantic Easter egg, so I had to include the closet, of course, as well. I was pretty happy with how all the proportions turned out, but eventually I would have loved to have like a slightly bigger room for the 2 living rooms. Like you can see that it's a bit small, but I'm so used to work on gigantic builds that this might be just a me problem. Like maybe I'm just too used to build gigantic rooms, but I had to make like the whole house a tiny bit smaller at some point because the proportions weren't making sense. I had to line up the windows with the rooms so they were centered, and then there was like this gigantic space between the 2 windows, so the whole house was just too wide and it just wasn't looking right. So I made everything smaller, and it totally made sense for most of the rooms, but I feel like the living rooms are like more on the smaller side. And yeah, but I hope it's still okay. I've also used some Notes to See gallery art above the fireplace here, and I've really tried my best to recreate the interior. This is where it's not like super fancy or something. I've really gone by screenshots from episodes to really recreate the feel and the look, so it's like not super cluttered and it's super beautiful. I've really tried to turn this into the Simpsons house, and here you can see the TV. I've used like this retro TV and I sized it up, and in the newer episodes there's like a flat screen, so the Simpsons also got more modern and the living room got a small makeover, so the Simpsons now have a flat screen TV. But I feel like the old TV, the retro one, is kind of so iconic that I wanted to include it. It's gigantic and just sitting on the floor. This is where like Bart and Lisa are watching Itchy and Scratchy and all that. I just wanted to do it this way, and yeah, I've just sized it up and placed it over there. And this is like the small storage space that I've talked about, the closet, and I've just made it like a bit messy. There's just some random stuff in there. I'm going to do the same with the basement, because the basement is always like super messy and there are like random objects. I mean, it's just a basement, so it makes sense. So I've really tried to like have the perfect vibe for each room. And this is the dining room, and I've had like some issues when it came to deciding which dining table I would like to use. The dining table is mostly shown with a yellow tablecloth, and I would never use this table usually, but here in this case it was the best match. And decorating the rooms was super difficult because there aren't a lot of objects in the Simpsons house. I feel like the kitchen is the only room which is like a bit cluttered and there are a lot of objects, and the kitchen is also like shown in so many episodes, especially at the beginning of some episodes, because the family is kind of gathering in the kitchen to have breakfast. School is about to start, and it kind of like sets the scene for the whole episode. Like the kids are going to school and there's like some plot, and then Homer is going to work, like all of that, and the kitchen is like actually pretty detailed. And of course we don't have a color wheel, so I had to improvise, and I've combined 2 different cabinets to have a purple and a yellow swatch. It's like not 100% a match, but I did my best here. Also, we luckily got some round tables at some point. The table in the Simpsons kitchen is round and it has a blue tablecloth, so this table was the best match. It's round, it's blue, and it's wooden, so it was kind of the best match. And I've then moved on to like make some changes, and I've then worked on the rumpus room that I've talked about earlier. This is not like 100% a match. I also wanted to include like a desk and a computer because this is like a hobby room, and I felt like it just makes sense to have the like family computer, which sounds super 90s, but it just felt like it would make sense to include the family computer in this room. And this is the main bathroom. It's located on the top floor, and I've looked at so many screenshots and I've watched all the episodes, but you mostly see certain rooms only from one specific angle, and for me it was a little mystery what you put into the other corner, and I've then decided to just put another shower in there. Like, I mean, the bathtub is like a shower bathtub combination, but I've just placed a single individual shower in there, and I've also made the decision to use counters because I wanted to use the clutter from the bathroom clutter kit, and I just wanted this to look like a bit cluttered. I felt like it was appropriate for the bathrooms, and this here is the bathroom, which is part of the master bedroom. So this is Marge's and Homer's bathroom, and it has a completely different look from the other bathroom. Like, the floor is similar, but the walls have a different color. And the shower, like, I had no idea how to recreate it. It looked bigger than a regular shower that we have in the game, but it also didn't look fancy. It looked like a hybrid of a regular shower that we have in the game and a fancy walk-in shower. So I've just decided to like use a window and to still keep it simple to make it look like the real deal. And I've then moved on to work on the kids' rooms. So on the left we have Lisa's bedroom, on the right we have Bart's bedroom, and I've gone by screenshots again. So here we have Lisa's desk, and there is a bookshelf. And Lisa plays the sax, so I've just decided to include a guitar, so there's an instrument in her bedroom instead of a saxophone, so she has the guitar and all that. And I've also placed some clutter on there, and I've like really tried to make it look like the real deal. I've also included a drawer, like different things that's functional. So I feel like honestly this is a perfect family home for gameplay, and I feel like the whole layout of the Simpsons house would make sense for gameplay in The Sims in general. Like, I understand that some people won't like the colors and all that. It's like pretty special. I mean, it's like a house from a comic TV show and all of that, but I feel like the floor plan in itself is perfect. It's not too big, it's not too small. You have a garage. I've like placed this woodworking bench in there. You have the basement where you can do laundry. You have a nice garden, a small tree house. You have multiple kids' rooms, including one for a baby or a toddler. You have like really everything you would need. It's like a really traditional layout for a house, and while I was building this I realized that this is like so perfect for like actually playing in this, and I feel like it would totally make sense to like remodel this to like make this into a regular suburban mansion, you could say. Like, this is kind of the joke. Homer doesn't put any effort in his work. Like, for anyone who has no idea, like, you know, not everyone is into The Simpsons, but Homer, like, is super lazy. He never puts effort into his work. He himself has, like, no idea what to do, really. Like, he has no idea what his job is. He's useless. Like, this is kind of the joke, and he still supports his family and like has this gigantic house, which is actually way too big for what he does and probably earns. And this is kind of hinted at in multiple episodes and kind of a joke because like this is like a mansion almost. Like, it's pretty big. It's a really big suburban house. Every kid has their own bedroom. It's really spacious. Even Maggie as a baby has like her own bedroom. It's really spacious and beautiful, and I feel like it's like perfect to just play in this house and to have a big sim family. It's really nice. And this is the garden. I have included the treehouse, like Bart's treehouse, and the garden in itself is pretty empty. In different episodes we see different things. Like, there's a episode which I love so much where they have a pool in the garden, one of my favorite episodes. Like, there are different things happening in the house and in the garden in different episodes, but I like kept it simple and I've only included the basics. You could always like make changes or add something, but I just wanted to have like a really basic plain Simpsons house. And this is the basement. I really loved to furnish this room because it was so different, and yeah, I made it a bit messy. You can do some laundry down there. I've just included different things, and again I went by screenshots but also added like my own twist. And I've just included a shelf, a bookshelf, just different things, but it really looks pretty similar to the real deal. And it's always cool to have like an area for doing laundry. And I mean, I know a lot of people love laundry day actually. And this is also the garden, a nice terrace. You can have a barbecue there, and this is it actually. So this is the Simpsons house in The Sims 4. I hope that you've liked it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you might use it. This would be fun. Leave a comment down below if you actually download this and use it. My ID is KateEmerald. It's CC free and unmodded in the gallery. You can just grab it and let your Sims and the Simpsons move in. There are some amazing Simpsons families in the gallery, so you can just grab a Simpsons family and use them, which is pretty amazing. And yeah, you can also grab the tray files from my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons and Emerald YouTube members. A big thank you to Mehmet Ali Baris Khan, Alona Bleu, Andrew Hill, Asia, Lady Sims KTY, Lisa Martin, Saturated Spark, Shannon McClam, Stemlicious, Stephanie Mead, and Steven. Thank you so much for a huge support. A big thank you to all my other patrons and YouTube members. And of course, a big thank you to anyone who's watching this. If you would like to, I would be so happy if you would like to like and subscribe. And yeah, just thank you for being here and for being amazing. I hope you will have a perfect week. Thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.